results I'm going to share is probably not what you expect. It shocked to me at first, but if you tune in, pay attention, you're going to learn a thing or two that you can apply to yourself to potentially spark some more muscle growth. So let's get into this. EW-ZT1TH asks, has getting stronger, especially on isolation, which are for a long time in your plan, has every time correlated with muscle growth? So this lovely individual is asking, has strength gain directly correlated with muscle gain? Let's take a look. I'm going to walk you through what's happened with my arm training over the past year plus, and I've seen similar results with leg training, so I think it's safe to extrapolate out where this probably applies to all muscle groups. So May of 2023, I'm at Alpha Land, the land of a zillion and one freaking cameras. A little bit of a wacky place, but overall a dope facility. My arms are 17.5 inches, and I am pumping the 75-pound dumbbell behind my head for the trusty French press. Dumbbell tricep extensions. You can see with standing curls, we don't actually know what the weight is, but my expert laser vision ability to identify the poundage without actually seeing the number on the bar, just by the girth of the weight, I'm pretty sure that's about a 70-pound barbell. So that roughly represents my strength at the time, and the mass in my arms is 17.5 inches. All right, now let's move forward 5 months to October 1st, where I finally hit 18 inches. How much strength did I gain during that time? Does it directly correlate with the muscle gain? Well, let me show you. At this time, now the dumbbell tricep extension behind the head, the exact same exercise, the only exercise I did over this time period for my triceps, I can get 17 to 18 reps with the 95-pound dumbbell. That's a substantial increase from the 75-pound dumbbell previously used for probably less than 17 reps. However, as you'll notice, I've added a bit of zip to my tempo. I'm using an explosive tempo, which I found helped me to progress the weight at a faster rate than just using a regular tempo, but using a fast explosive tempo does make the weight easier to move. So you got to factor that in. Regardless, that's adding about 20 pounds to that lift. And we go to the curls, and I'm blasting the 45-pound dumbbells for hammers, so that's up to 90 pounds total. It is a bit of a different lift. Hammers are probably a little bit easier. Regardless, we've added roughly 20 pounds to that lift as well. So adding ballpark-ish 20 pounds to each of those lifts over 5 months led to an additional ½ inch of girth in my arms. And I would say this is fairly directly correlating strength gain with muscle gain. A fairly substantial strength gain in the lifts led to a fairly substantial muscle gain. But the plot thickens as we progress forward. From this time on, I then managed, if we scoot ahead to March of 2024, so now we're talking October, November, December, January, February, March, maybe an additional 6 months, I've managed to increase my lift. You can see here the dumbbell triceps extension behind the head. Now we've got a 115-pound dumbbell for about 10 reps, so I've added an additional 20 pounds. The reps have came down some from 17, but overall, you can see I've added a lot more strength over the 6-month span. And the standing curls, I've got the 117-pound bar here for 10 to 15 reps, which is a significant increase from doing the 45-pound hammer curls, a total weight of 90 pounds, up to 117 pounds. However, although I drastically increased my strength gain during this time, the muscle size in my arms stayed pretty much the same. They're still 18 inches. What's going on? That's kind of weird. At first, adding weight to my lifts, strength gain, seemed highly correlated with muscle gain. Now, the second part of this journey, the strength gain, increases in strength, pretty substantial increases in strength did not seem to lead to more muscle gain. Now, on top of that, I do not have footage of this, so you're going to have to take my word for it. April, May of 2024, I managed to continue to progress where I peaked out the dumbbell triceps extension behind the head with a 118.2-pound dumbbell. I put it on a scale for 14 reps with the same fast explosive tempo. And I was doing this at a local rec center where they don't really allow you to film. So I didn't record any of this footage. You're just gonna have to take my word for it. I have no reason to make this up. It's fairly comparable to the previous lifts that I have video footage of. Fast forward a couple more months, I gained a little bit more strength as well. The standing curls, at the easy bar, I peaked with the 135 pounds on the bar total for 10 reps, 10 or 11, I can't exactly remember. So that's a pretty substantial strength gain from October 1st when my arms first hit 18 inches. And my arms were still basically 18 inches, maybe a sliver above. Maybe I gained like 1/8 of an inch over this 8-month time span, putting on 95 pounds up to 118. What's that? 120 or 23 additional pounds on the dumbbell triceps extension, going from 17 reps to 14. It's roughly the same. And the curls, 90 pounds up to 135. That's 45 pounds. But, the hammer curls are a bit easier, so maybe that's 35 pounds. Regardless, we're talking 20, 30 pounds plus added and no additional muscle gain, or very little, which is unusual. And it led me to reflect some and go, initially I thought that if I could just find a way to lift this weight for more reps, or the same reps but a much heavier weight, add 20 pounds to it, certainly I will gain muscle. And what I saw was yes and then no. And what does this mean? Basically what I noticed is that once I sacrificed volume for an individual set output, the muscle gain stopped correlating with strength gain. In the initial period where I added strength and added size, I didn't necessarily sacrifice my volume. I still did a substantial amount of sets, anywhere from 5 to 10 working sets per muscle in each session, potentially up to 15, but somewhere in that range. From there onward, from October to May, October 2023 to May 2024, I trimmed down my volume, focusing solely on increasing the set, any single set output. How much weight can I dumbbell triceps extend behind my head in 1, 2, 3 sets with really extended rest times, trimming that volume way down. So putting all my eggs in the basket of, if I can get this weight or a heavier weight for more reps in an individual set or a couple sets, then that's going to lead to more muscle gain. What I saw is that when you sacrifice the volume by trimming the sets down, it doesn't actually lead to more muscle gain. It just primarily leads to strength gain. Long rests, just a handful of sets, which is kind of similar to how powerlifters train, I believe. So it kind of makes sense. So what your takeaway should be is that strength gain is highly correlated with muscle gain so long as you don't sacrifice volume to progress your strength more. Because if you reduce the amount of volume you can do and you take longer rest times in between your individual sets, and then you don't do as many sets in a week and a month, it allows you to recover more and potentially perform better and get a higher number or move more weight in that small number of sets. But in my personal experience, I didn't see this to lead to the same amount of muscle growth. So my recommendation is to keep the sets at the same level and still chase higher numbers, but don't get too caught up into it that you go, even if I can just get 1 or 2 sets or 3 sets with really high output, that's going to be better. In my experience, I saw it not to be. So keep the volume up. Do at least 5 working sets, up to 15 working sets in each workout, and try to chase higher numbers. I saw the same thing happen with my legs. I went down to just 2 sets and really cranked the weight up, and I think my legs actually atrophied some. Definitely didn't get bigger, and since then I've gone back, bumping that up to 3, 4, 5 sets, and trimming the rest window down a bit, back to like 3 to 5 minutes, and I saw better growth with my legs as well. So it's finding that kind of middle ground, which led to the most growth in my opinion. That's based on my own personal experience. That's the best way I can answer your question. Thanks for leaving a comment. Thanks for watching. Apply it to yourself. Go make some more freaking gains. Peace.